Kanan Stark does not make mistakes. Every single move he makes, every person he talks to, every place he shows up, it all has a reason behind it. So when you saw him link up with Tiana at the end of episode 3, and your first thought was, wait, where did she come from? That feeling in your gut was right. Because that moment was not random. That was not Kanan just finding a girl he likes. That was a calculated, cold, and deeply thought-out move that he had been building toward the entire time. And the scariest part? Nobody around him even saw it coming. Not Rack, not Breeze, not even Tiana herself. Kanan has been sitting quietly, watching, listening, and putting pieces together while everyone else was busy fighting the war in front of them. But Kanan has been fighting a completely different war, one that nobody even knew had started. And episode 4 is where that war comes out of the shadows. If you thought you understood what Kanan was doing this season, this episode is about to make you realize you only had half the picture. Because the Tiana situation is not what it looks like on the surface. It goes deeper. It is more dangerous. And it tells us something about who Kanan Stark is becoming that honestly should send a chill down your spine. To really understand why the Tiana deception is such a big deal, you have to go back and look at who Tiana actually is in this story. Because she is not just some random character the writers dropped into the season to give Kanan a love interest. That is not what this is. Tiana is one of Flossy's escorts. And if you have been watching this season closely, you already know what that means. Flossy is the woman Rock partnered with when Stefano pushed her out of Queens. After Stefano made it clear that Rock was no longer welcome in her old territory, Rock did not fall apart. She did not sit down and cry about it. Rock Thomas has never done that a day in her life. Instead, she found a door that Stefano had left open without realizing it. Manhattan. Flossy runs her escort business in Manhattan, and Rock saw an opportunity to plug her drug operation right into that network. The escorts become the runners. They move the product. It is smart. It is clean. It keeps Rock's hands at a distance from the actual street-level risk. And for a moment, it looked like Rock had found her way back. It looked like she had survived yet again. But here's the thing about a plan that looks perfect from the outside. It only stays perfect if every single person inside that plan is trustworthy. And Tiana is now on the inside. She is not just some escort who does her job and goes home. She is moving Rock's product. She is part of the operation. She knows things. She has access to information that, in the wrong hands, could bring Rock's entire Manhattan setup crashing down. And Kanan knows this. That is what makes the final moment of episode 3 so loaded. Stefano sits down with Kanan and basically lays out a map of everything Rock is doing. He tells Kanan about the Manhattan operation, he tells him about Flossy, he tells him about the escorts. Now, think about that from Kanan's perspective. He has just been handed a blueprint of his mother's new empire. And instead of doing nothing, instead of staying in Queens and leaving Rock to her lane like he seemed to be doing, Kanan makes a move. A quiet move. A move that most people would miss if they were not paying close enough attention. He connects with Tiana, one of Flossy's escorts, one of Rock's runners. And that is where episode 4 picks up. Because now that connection is getting deeper. The deception is escalating. And Tiana has no idea that the man sitting across from her is the son of the woman whose drug operation she is helping to run. She has no idea that she is not a girlfriend, or a crush, or even just a client. She is information. She is access. She is a key that Kanan is using to open a door Rock thought was locked. This is the part that is going to hit you differently once you really sit with it. Because on the surface, you could watch the Tiana scenes in episode 4 and think you are watching Kanan make a personal connection. He seems calm. He seems almost normal. Maybe even likable in those moments. But that is exactly the point. That is what makes it so unsettling. Kanan is not warm with Tiana because he actually feels something for her. Kanan is warm with Tiana because he is good at this now. He has learned how to make people feel safe around him. He has learned how to make people feel like they matter to him. And that skill, the ability to make someone trust you completely while you are using them, that is not something Kanan was born with. That is something he learned. And the person who taught him? Rock. Think about every season of this show. Think about how Rock has operated. She has always used the people closest to her as pieces in her game. She used Marvin. She used Lou. She used Kanan himself. She built her operation on the loyalty of people who trusted her with their lives, and she spent that loyalty whenever it was useful to her. Kanan watched all of that growing up. He saw exactly how the game was played. And now he has taken everything Rock ever taught him, every lesson, every cold calculation, every move she made, and he is turning all of it directly against her. That is the real story of the Tiana deception. It is not just Kanan gathering information. It is Kanan becoming Rock, the ruthless version, the version without the moments of hesitation she sometimes had. Because Rock, for all of her coldness, still had feelings for the people she manipulated. She still loved Kanan even while she was controlling him. Kanan does not have that complication anymore. He has shut that part of himself off. And the way he moves with Tiana in episode 4 shows you exactly how complete that shutdown is. He is smooth, he is patient, he does not rush it because he does not need to rush it. He has time, he has a plan, and every conversation he has with Tiana is another piece of intelligence on Rock's operation that he can use when the moment is right, but here is where it gets even more complicated. Because Tiana is a real person. She has her own life, her own reasons for doing what she does. And the deeper Kanan pulls her into this, the more danger she is in. Not just from Kanan's plan, but from Rock herself. Because if Rock ever finds out that one of her runners has been talking to her own son, the consequences for Tiana would be devastating. Rock does not do mercy when it comes to her operation. She never has. So Tiana is sitting in the middle of something she does not even know exists. She is caught between a mother and a son who are at war, and she is being used as a weapon by the son, without her knowledge, without her consent, and with consequences she cannot even begin to imagine. And that is what makes this storyline so gripping to watch. It is not just a plot mechanic. It is a character study. It is the show asking you a question. When Kanan finally pulls the trigger on whatever his plan is, when he uses what Tiana has given him to hurt Rock, how are you going to feel about that? Because you've been watching him. You have seen his pain. You understand why he is doing this. But understanding why someone does something cold and understanding that the cold thing is right are two very different things. Episode 4 does not let you look away from that tension. It sits in it, and by the time the episode ends, you are not going to be cheering for Kanan or for Rock. You are going to be watching two people destroy each other, and realizing that Tiana might be the one who pays the highest price for a war that was never about her. Here is the thing that most people are going to miss when they watch the Tiana scenes in episode 4. They are going to see Kanan being calm, being smooth, being almost relaxed, and they are going to think that this is just a side story, a small moment in a big episode, something the writers threw in to give Kanan something to do while the bigger war plays out around him. But that reading is completely wrong, because the Tiana situation is not a side story. It is the main story. It is the story underneath the story. And once you see it for what it actually is, every single scene in this episode lands differently. Let us start with what Kanan is actually doing here. He is not pursuing Tiana because he is lonely. He is not connecting with her because he is looking for something real after everything he has lost. He is sitting with her, listening to her, making her feel comfortable and seen and important because she is a door. A door directly into Rock's Manhattan operation. Every time Tiana opens her mouth around Kanan, she is giving him something. A detail about how the product moves, a name, a location, a timing. She does not know she is doing it. That is the whole point. Kanan is not asking her direct questions that would raise alarm bells. He is just being present, being warm, being the kind of person that makes someone want to talk. And Tiana talks, because why would she not? She has no reason to suspect anything. She does not know who Kanan really is in relation to the operation she works for. She does not know that the woman running the drugs she carries is his mother. She does not know that the warm, calm man sitting across from her is quietly building a case to bring that entire operation down. And this is what separates episode 4's version of Kanan from every earlier version we have seen. In the early seasons of this show, Kanan was reactive. Things happened to him and he responded. He was emotional. He made decisions out of anger or grief or confusion. He was a young man being shaped by the world around him, but that version of Kanan is completely gone now. What we are watching in Season 5 is a man who has made peace with exactly who he is and what he is willing to do. He is not angry in his scenes with Tiana. He is not rushing. He is not desperate. He is focused, patient, methodical. And that version of Kanan is far more dangerous than any version we have seen before, because you cannot predict a calm predator the same way you can predict an angry one. Now here is where it gets really interesting. Because the way Kanan operates with Tiana is not something he invented on his own. Every move he is making, the patience, the warmth used as a tool, the relationship built on a foundation of hidden agenda, all of that came from somewhere. It came from Rak. Think about how Rak has operated across 4 seasons of this show. She has always kept people close, not because she loved them, but because they were useful to her. She managed Marvin through loyalty and fear. She managed Lou through family obligation. She managed Kanan himself through a version of love that was always tangled up with control. Rak never built a relationship that was purely about the other person. There was always something she needed, always something she was protecting or positioning. And Kanan sat inside that world from the time he was a child. He watched how she moved. He felt it done to him. He learned the lesson even when he did not know he was learning it. And now, in Season 5, he has taken that exact playbook and turned it around. He is doing to Tiana what Rak spent years doing to the people around her. The difference is that Rak, for all her calculation, still had genuine feeling underneath it. She still loved her son even while she was using him. She still felt things for the people in her circle even when she hurt them. Kanan has cut that part out. He has removed the emotion from the equation entirely. He is running Rak's method without Rak's weakness. And that is what makes watching him in Episode 4 so quietly terrifying. You are not watching someone who is struggling with what he is doing to Tiana. You are watching someone who has already made his peace with it. But the story does not just live with Kanan, because Tiana is a real person inside all of this. She has her own life, her own pressures, her own reasons for being in the position she is in. And the deeper she gets pulled into Kanan's orbit, the more danger she is sitting in, from 2 directions at once. From Kanan, who is using her without her knowledge, and from Rak, who would not hesitate for a single second if she found out that one of her runners had been spending time with her son. Rak does not give second chances when it comes to her operation. She never has. The people who have moved against her business, even accidentally, have always paid for it. So Tiana is standing in the middle of a war she cannot see, being used as a weapon in a fight she did not sign up for, by someone she trusts. And that combination, the trust, the invisibility of the danger, the impossible position she is in, is what gives this storyline its real emotional weight in Episode 4. Because at some point, the plan Kanan is running is going to reach its moment of use. He is going to take what Tiana has given him, intentionally or not, and he is going to use it to damage Rak. And when that moment comes, Tiana is not going to be protected by the fact that she was innocent in all of this. In this world, innocence has never been a shield. It has never stopped the consequences from arriving. And that is the quiet tragedy sitting at the center of this storyline. A woman who did nothing wrong, caught between 2 people who have already decided that winning matters more than who gets hurt along the way.